Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kirill, your justice analyst from Belarus living in Germany, and today it's time to do some Eurovision 2026 analysis. Today we're talking about the country which miraculously managed to transform their national selection 6 years ago and to become a new Eurovision powerhouse. Of course, we're talking about Finland. Their national selection Uuden, Musiikin, Kilpailu became one of the most watched Eurovision selections. Performances are one of the most polished, it's definitely one of the most engaging to watch. They're definitely trying to give rivalry to Swedish Melodifestivalen. And I think it's great because the songs produced by this national selection almost every year top Finnish charts. So I think if broadcaster managed to arrange selection in such a way that people really stand behind the entries from their countries, this is definitely a very important step to convince European audience as well. And the winners this year who are not just topping the Finnish charts, but also topping all the polls of Eurovision fans, bookmakers this year are Lampenius and Pete Parkkonen, who never performed together before, basically met just 1 month before the deadline of the submission of songs for Uuden, Musiikin, Kilpailu 2026 and were brought together by the producer and DJ Antti Riihimäki. Actually, the victory for the entry Liekinheitin has been absolute. No one was even close. They managed to convince the international juries, and especially they managed to convince Finnish public, who awarded them 56% of all votes casted, while the second place contestant had just 17%. Antti started to work with the Finnish national selection already last year, where he also produced 2 songs, but those 2 songs actually didn't do as good. They managed to get the same amount of points, and both finished in place 3 and 4 out of 6 contestants. And that last ballad, Aina for Vivi, has been co-written and co-produced by another Finnish composer-producer, Lauri Halavara, who's also behind this year's entry. Another composer of this year's entry, Vilma Alina, is actually quite a famous singer in Finland. In 2016, she has released a single which managed to get place 2 in Finnish charts, and which today has already more than 11 million views on YouTube. The performers of the song Linda and Pete are actually also featured as co-composers. And what do we know about Linda Lampenius? Actually, she's more known as Linda Brava. She's now 56 years old. She's an extremely famous, I would even say world famous soloist, violinist whose talent was already acknowledged first time in 1978 when she did a sort of a small solo concert with a violin. Linda achieved so much throughout her career, from playing for Celine Dion and playing with Andrew Lloyd Webber to being even Playboy model in the USA. She definitely got world famous, being featured in a couple of Hollywood movies, for example, Fame LA. Also performing in the American series Baywatch, a beautiful violin solo. Interestingly, Linda has already performed last year as an interval act in Finnish UMK, so I guess it was sort of a teaser from the broadcaster that, guys, watch out, she might be coming next year by herself. But what do we know about the actual singer, Pete Parkkonen? He is of course not as world famous as Linda. He's 36 years old. His first TV appearance was in 2008 in a Finnish version of Idols. Unfortunately, there are no performances left, even though he managed to get 3rd place. Shortly after the Idols, Pete has released his first album titled The First Album, and it's not a joke, for real. It got golden certification in Finland, and I actually quite have enjoyed a single called The Final Day from that album. In 2016, after turning into Michał Szpak, probably following the success of the Polish contestant in Eurovision 2016, Pete released a new single which managed to reach number 3 in the official Finnish singles chart, which till this day was his most successful song of all time. And the last officially released work from him was in 2022, a beautiful Christmas song titled Christmas Peace. So we have quite an experienced team behind, but no one who had so far experience with the Eurovision Song Contest. Nevertheless, it seems to be a big favorite. I'm extremely excited to finally listen to it. So without further ado, let's go to the first listen. As always, I will start with the official studio version. In this case, we have official music video. Afterwards, I will take a look at the lyrics of the song and then definitely at the live performance from UMK. Let's go. It's a beautiful beginning. It seems to be a sort of a ballad. I guess I'm taking my words back. I love this violin sound in the background as she's probably pulling those strings. That's a very epic beginning for the chorus. I love the violin here, and we know that violin's always so good in Eurovision. Powerful, great. Well, Linda is obviously not singing, she's only playing the violin, but what have I expected? What a powerful instrumental breakdown, love that. I only don't know how it will work with the violin, taking into account that they cannot be played live, so it will be pre-recorded, so basically sort of lip-syncing just for the violin. Well, it's definitely a banger. I love the vibe, I love the energy here. I only don't really understand what this background vocal is saying. What an interesting ending as well. Wow. You know, now I can definitely see why it's doing so well in all the different polls. I think it's a great song with such a memorable hook. The violin solo is something what is always craved for in Eurovision Song Contest, and we actually haven't had any winners featuring violins for quite a while. Luckily for the guys, Alexander Rybak didn't win the Norwegian selection, so this competition on the violin field will not be there. Rise, rise, you will rise. It's very cleverly composed, it definitely screams Eurovision, but still because the composers are not those whom we often see in Eurovision, or actually whom we have never seen in Eurovision, it still sounds quite fresh and different to what we have heard in the past. The only entry which this one oddly totally reminds me of is the Belarusian entry from 2015. I think it was called Time by Yuzuri and Maimuna. The main problem of that entry were not so remarkable visuals on the Eurovision stage, also quite a bland, revamped version. But back then, in 2015, they didn't even manage to qualify to the final, so I would be a little bit cautious with the Finnish entry, even though it's of course better and is a banger. But now let's take a look at the lyrics of the song titled Liekinheitin to see what it is about. In general, the song seems to be very much about one-sided feelings. In the second verse, we can see, for a couple of nights I can't reach you, can a person die of lust? In the first verse, we can read, kinda strange that you won't look me in the eye when last night you couldn't keep your hands off me. I'm looking for you in the crowd, you're talking to others, to your friends, you're pretending like you don't even know me. In the chorus, Pete just confirms it would be wiser to get away from here, but he's still playing with fire because he cannot freeze his feelings. So the title of the song, Flamethrower, is used here as a metaphor for heating up the emotions inside of the other person, but then just turning ice cold and pretending like nothing happened. So it's obvious that the narrator, Pete in this case, has developed some feelings for that person, but that person is just not reciprocating them in the same way and just probably wants to have some good time together, but nothing more complicated than that. So perfectly fine text, and the message kinda goes into the same direction as Wasted Love by JJ from Austria, who won Eurovision last year. So let's see how much fire the guys will bring on stage, because with such a title I don't expect anything different. Let's go. Gorgeous camera shots. I mean, we know that the production level of Finnish UMK is very high, but this is definitely Eurovision level. Pete sounds fantastic, definitely cannot say anything bad about his vocals. Can't quite figure out what this prompt on stage should mean, but let's see. So far the performance is very much about him. We only saw like small milliseconds of Linda so far, but I know that there is this instrumental break coming right after the chorus, so I think this is where she will shine. The instrumental, the backing vocals, everything is just so impactful and epic. Actually, she has a small mic on her violin, so it looks like she might be playing live. I'm not sure if they made an exception in the Finnish national selection, because she basically sounds one-to-one as the studio version, but in the Eurovision Song Contest it will not work. When I'm looking at the lyrics, this part definitely looks like sort of confession, where he's confessing his sins to the Lord. You can actually see that the strings of the bow for the violin are already broken, so it definitely gives this Alexander Rybak references. Who got famous for playing violin so passionately during his performance that even the strings break. So we got now some flame on stage, but I have to say I'm slightly disappointed. We have seen how much fire you can bring on stage on the Firefighters performance in Melodifestivalen. So I hope for the Eurovision stage they're preparing a more grand performance with a lot more fire. Okay, now we're kind of getting closer, now we're getting more fire. I didn't really see coming that this wooden looking construction might be set on fire without being destroyed, or maybe it's not burning down. Let's see. How did she end up already there? Was it just a projection on stage? I think I have to check afterwards. I wasn't really sure what was going on with his vocal now. Sounded a little bit messy. But the ending was actually quite powerful. It's quite cool how he's trying to simulate those violin tones with his voice. Very cool entry from Finland this year. The song is definitely a hit. I think the live performance will be much more amazing than what we now saw in the Finnish national selection. It definitely doesn't sound like any of our last winners. But now let's take a look how Finland actually did in the Eurovision semi-finals in the last 5 and 15 years. As I have already said, in 2020 they have revived their national selection Uuden, Musiikin, Kilpailu, changed the approach to preparation of the participants completely, and you can see that now, in accordance with the televote, they have the best qualification rate and the best results in the Eurovision semi-finals among the countries taking part in the first semi-final of Eurovision 2026. If we take a look at the overall score in the last 5 years, then it's the second place. The juries were favoring them a little bit less. But if we look at all the last 15 years, actually the juries were not just favoring them less, they are not even seeing Finland as qualifier, usually seeing them not qualifying. That's why they're ranked 11th out of 15 entries taking part in the first semi-final. But I don't think it really matters. I think this song is also very much jury friendly. It's a good, modern, radio friendly pop, and that's exactly what the juries are looking for. So I'm quite expecting very good results from them for sure. And now let's take a look at the participants of the first semi-final where Finland will be performing. So Finland has been drawn first half of the first semi-final. Theoretically, first half is of course worse, but countries-wise, it couldn't be better for them because they have both Sweden and Estonia, so the best kind of Nordic countries which they could get in the same semi-final. I don't think we have to question if Finland does qualify in this year or not, but I think with this country it has even higher chances to be victorious in this first semi-final. As I have already told you, Finland is leading in all possible polls, so as you can see on your screen in the Eurovision scoreboard, they're first and having 10% more votes than the second place Denmark. It's also very cool to see this very Nordic top 3, and it just shows that this year these countries can count on very high televote points. I just hope Sweden, Denmark, Finland will not cancel each other too much and all 3 will get great support. And finally, let's take a look at the bookmaker odds to see if Finland is still first, and it definitely is. The coefficients are much better than for any other competitors. Basically, bookmakers are only expecting that France, Denmark, maybe Greece could fight for the victory as well. Australia and Sweden are not too far behind, but everyone else has very high coefficients. Considering the result of Belarus in Eurovision 2015, where this sort of fake violin playing was not really that much appreciated, I'm a little bit concerned that maybe this bookmaker odds are a little bit too optimistic for Finland. France and especially Australia are the entries which I think will get a huge support from the juries. On the other hand, Greece will definitely smash the televote because it's the only southern country which we have in this favorites list, so you can already imagine for whom the whole Southern Europe will vote. So I personally think the battle for the first place is still very much open, and we just have to look at the performances from the pre-parties to make the next conclusions. This is what I have thought about the Finnish entry for Eurovision 2026. Flamethrower, definitely quite something, quite unique, quite memorable, and definitely quite a big favorite to win the next competition. Do you believe that Finland will win, or do you think some other country has a higher chance? Definitely let me know down below in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, to subscribe to my channel, because very soon my first prediction videos for the Eurovision 2026 results are coming. Stay tuned and I will see you there. Bye bye.